The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to go over a comparison between cordless and a corded robotic pool cleaner. And I've tested pretty much all the new models of the cordless robots this summer or this season. And I'll give you a comparison and how they stack up against a corded robotic pool cleaner. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro. I think, of course, the main advantage of the cordless robotic pool cleaner is that there's no cord. And that's probably the only real advantage over the corded cleaner. To be honest with you, it's much better, I think, as a clean effect. If you're going to sell one of these to a high-end client, you don't have the cord on the deck, you don't have a power unit that's plugged in. So there is that factor. And I think if that's all that you're looking for, that may just be enough for you to consider buying a cordless robotic pool cleaner. They've certainly come a long way this season over the last 2 years or 3 or 4 years prior. The first cordless cleaner, of course, was the WaterTech CX1 and then their Volt 550 Li. And don't get me wrong, this is probably an underrated robotic pool cleaner because it works really well. And it's one of the things that is overlooked because it's an older cordless cleaner, of course. It's also a bottom loading with a bag in there. So it is kind of old school in that respect, but it probably has the longest battery life of any of the robotic pool cleaners. So that means that it's good for a larger pool and it runs a lot longer than the other current robotic pool cleaners on the market. However, the price point is around $1,500, so it may be priced out of the category because most of the other ones are below that price range. And then the next one that emerged on the market was the Aiper cleaners, and they make a variety of different size robotic pool cleaners that are cordless. I think one of the things to note about the Aiper ones is that they don't have the magnetic charging. So there is a port you have to plug it in, and if you leave that port open, it'll compromise the cleaner, and then water will get inside there and pretty much ruin that cleaner. So that's probably the downside of the Aiper, although the price point is the lowest on the market. I mean, you can get one of those for $400 all the way up to $800. And don't get me wrong, they work well. They're not bad robotic pool cleaners. They're the lower end cordless robotic pool cleaners. They may be sufficient for you, so you may want to consider one of those also. The major brand are the Polaris Freedom, and then you have the Dolphin Liberty 200 and 300. So I've had a chance to test all of these cordless robotic pool cleaners. Aiper Seagull is their latest one on the market this year, and it's really a good cleaner, except for the charging port issue, which I mentioned in a lot of reviews. You can see that their cleaner was compromised because they forgot to put the plug back into the charging port, and then the cleaner is just a brick at that point. So if you count the WaterTech cordless cleaners and the Aiper cleaners, plus the Polaris and Dolphin, the market's definitely emerging and there's more choices out there. So again, the convenience factor is number one. You simply charge the cleaner for 4 hours, and that's usually the charge time for most of them. And then you throw it in the pool and it's running in there. So if you have a solar surface cleaner, or if you just don't like the look of the cord, and you want something cordless, because I think it is really something that the cord bothers a lot of people. Sometimes the cord gets tangled. Sometimes if you have anything in the pool, the cord gets tangled around that. So the cord can be a drawback. So how are these cleaners? Do they work effectively? They do, with one caveat, except for the WaterTech one, which I mentioned has a longer runtime. Most of these run for 1.5 to 2.5 hours, and that means that they're limited in their cleaning ability to a small to medium pool. And what I mean by a small to medium pool, you're looking at something that's 15,000 gallons or smaller, nothing larger than 15 by 30. If you do have a larger pool and you want to use a cordless robotic pool cleaner, let's say you have a 20,000 gallon pool, maybe 20 by 40, you may have to run 2 cleaning cycles with a cordless cleaner. So keep that in mind, that currently they're only set or designed for the smaller pools And of course, models are coming out in the future. I know this for sure, that are going to be for larger pools because the market is expanding, and they're definitely going to come out with cleaners that have a 3 or 4 hour runtime. It's just that the lithium ion battery can only be put into the cleaner at a certain size for the weight and for the size of the cleaner. It's just basic engineering. And as you get a bigger battery, you're going to have a heavier cleaner. And so that's kind of a drawback for consumers because then the weight of the cleaner becomes counterproductive to the convenience factor of having a cordless cleaner. Currently, these cleaners weigh about 14 pounds or so, or 16 pounds. I think the Aiper is the heaviest. And they're still easy to get out of the pool. Now, the Polaris Freedom uses their system where it comes up to the pool side by itself, and then you can grab it, and then the water evacuates out of that pool cleaner rapidly. It has a patented system where the water evacuates out, making it light. The Dolphin cleaners aren't too bad either when you pull them up. As long as when you pull these cleaners up, just like any other robotic pool cleaner, you're not going to grab it and pull it straight out of the pool with water. You're going to grab it and you're going to pull it to the side of the coping, and then you're going to tilt it so the water drains out. So to me, it's not a huge factor, but as they make the larger batteries, these will get heavier for sure, unless they can improve the battery technology, which sometimes is hard to do. But the batteries are the biggest problem with the runtime because they can only put an X amount of size lithium ion battery in there to give you that 1.5, 2 hour, 2.5 hour runtime. But the programming of all these cleaners allows it to clean the pool really effectively. I've watched all of them in the pools, and I know they're all a little bit different as far as the programming and the cleaning method, but for a smaller pool, they are highly effective in cleaning it really rapidly and effectively in that short cleaning period. Now, the Freedom has a 2.5, the Polaris Freedom has a 2.5 hour cleaning time, and the price point reflects that. And so this is probably a better cleaner if your pool is on the larger size, so maybe 16 or 17,000. You might be able to get away with the Polaris Freedom with a 2.5 hour runtime versus the Dolphin Liberty 200 and Liberty 300, which both have a 1.5 hour runtime. And of course, the Aiper also has a 2 hour runtime. So it's one of those things where, the runtime is a factor for your pool size. But again, the programming is done in such a way that it doesn't need to worry about, turning a certain way to unravel the cord. Most of the robotic pool cleaners nowadays have a cord swivel, but there is some programming involved in making sure that that cord doesn't get tangled nonetheless. So they eliminated that, which makes it a much more rapid way to clean the pool. One thing without the cord is that you can't program these cleaners to clean your pool all week long because Wi-Fi doesn't work underwater. And if you notice with the Polaris Freedom, once you have it in the pool, the Wi-Fi connection to the app is useless. It just shows it offline. So it's one of the drawbacks with a cleaner that's cordless, because if you don't have any kind of station or any kind of cord connecting it to the surface, it just can't get any kind of programming to a point. Although the Liberty 300 does have a programmable cycle with the button. So if you hold the power button down on the Liberty 300, not the 200, but the 300 for 6 seconds, and I kind of figured there was something about the way you kind of program it, but the way I was doing it is I turn it on, then I would turn it off and turn it on again, and then hold the button down. For some reason, that seems to work more effectively than turning it on for the first time and holding the button down. So maybe that's just the way it's programmed. But I'll turn it on, I'll turn it off, then I'll turn it back on, and I'll hold the button down for 6 seconds on the Liberty 300, and that goes into eco mode. So what this will do with this particular cordless cleaner, so it'll go into a floor-only cleaning mode. It'll run for 30 minutes, and then it'll turn off for 2 days, and then it'll boot back up and run for 30 minutes, and then it'll turn off again for 2 more days, and then it'll run a final 30 minute cycle, and then you'll have, that 1.5 hour cleaning time broken up over the course of a week. So that's the closest I think these have gotten to having some kind of program in there. And I think, again, that's the drawback, because if you have a corded robot like the Polaris Alpha IQ, you can set a 7-day cycle in there. There's no worry about taking it out and charging it. And so there is that inconvenience factor built into the cordless cleaner, that there's no real program yet, although Dolphin is moving in that direction. So I think, Polaris will probably have something similar to that, where there'll be some kind of onboard programming through the app, and you can program a cycle. But currently the Polaris Freedom, the Liberty 200, the Aiper Seagull does not have a programming cycle like that. Now the Volt 550, and then the CX1 does have something very similar to the Liberty 300 cycle, where it'll stay in the pool all week and it'll run for a short burst of time, and it'll work a little bit each day during the week. I think a 30-minute run time, and it'll actually clean the walls also. But the Liberty 300 has a floors only weekly programmable mode. So they're moving in that direction, and I think in the future someone's going to come out with one that you can actually do a weekly cycle. The other drawback, of course, I mentioned you have to take it out and recharge it, and it takes about 4 hours. So therefore, if you want to use it more than once, you have to wait that 4-hour period. Whereas with the cordless cleaners, you can just run various cycles over and over again if you need to. With the corded ones, I should say, you can run various cycles over and over again. So that's the advantage of having a corded cleaner, and also the advantage of the weekly cycle. The other advantage also is that the corded cleaners can be used for a larger pool because of the longer runtime, and the cords, you can get one that has 70 feet of cord, 60 feet of cord, put it right in the middle of your pool, and if you have a large 30,000 gallon pool, the corded cleaner will get that pool clean, within 4 or 5 hours, no problem. And so for the larger pools, you're still limited to that. Now, as far as the debris chambers, the Aiper was probably the worst at 130 microns. So if you have finer dirt, that one's not going to be suitable for you, but it's great for sand and leaf debris. The Volt and the CX1 by WaterTech have a bag on the bottom. I'm not exactly sure the micron rating, but I know it's pretty low. Since it's a bag, it's probably under 40 microns, maybe close to 20. But the micron ratings are kind of one of those things where it's subjective versus scientific. However, with the Dolphin cleaners, the Liberty 200 and the Liberty 300, Liberty 200 comes with just the fine filter canister, which filters down to about 70 microns, and the Liberty 300 comes with both the fine filter and the ultrafine. It's kind of a weird debris canister because it has 2 fine filter panels and 2 ultrafine panels on the side, which I find kind of counterintuitive, but they also include 2 more ultrafine panels to switch out the fine panels, and so you can get down to 20 microns with the ultrafine filter basket versus the fine filter basket. The Polaris Freedom sits at about 100 microns. I think it's probably more like an 80 micron canister in there, and sometimes they'll make a fine canister for the cleaner. I do think they make one for the Epic, and that gets down to 60 microns, which I think is more like a 40 micron canister. Again, the micron ratings are kind of subjective, and basically if you are looking at comparisons to a pool filter, a sand filter will filter down to about 30 or 40 microns. A cartridge filter will filter down anywhere from 10 to 20 microns, and then a D filter will filter down to 3 to 5 microns. So that's kind of your gauge on how much dirt it picks up. All of them are based on their corded cleaner, so they're going to have a full-size debris canister. The Polaris Freedom is based on the Epic lineup, so you're going to have the same canister in there. It's a fairly good size canister, and a Dolphin S200 and Liberty 200 and 300 are based on their other cleaners in the similar fashion. I think it's the S200 or something like that. I don't know the exact model. They have various models with the same body, but you're going to get a full-size debris canister there. As far as the power, I don't notice any difference in the power between the corded and cordless cleaner. I think the motors and the impellers run at the same speed. I find the power to be very similar as far as suction power, picking up debris. So you don't lose anything there in that aspect. You just lose a few of the convenience factors, like running the cleaner over and over again if you need to, and having a weekly programmable cycle. The price point of the cordless cleaners is higher because of the lithium-ion battery. They're not cheap. Just imagine your cell phone battery times 10, and that's kind of the size of that battery in there. And also, the technology is newer, so you're going to have to pay for that also. And I think most of them come with a 2-year warranty. How long does the battery last? Well, you can recharge a lithium-ion battery like 1,000 times, so it should last way past that 2-year period, unless there's some kind of mechanical problem with the cleaner. I like the Dolphin and I like the Polaris version because the fact that they have magnetic charging. So there are no open ports in those cleaners. There's no way water is going to get in to the motor or to the battery compartment to compromise the cleaner. And this is something that you may want to consider because the other cleaners don't quite have that technology yet. Although the WaterTech, there's no entry point because it's also sealed, and there's actually a charging connector that's sealed, and the Aiper has a charging port that you have to plug in and open up. So those are things to consider. I think the Polaris Freedom or the Dolphin Liberty 200 or 300 would be a great choice, but don't overlook the WaterTech CX1 or the WaterTech Volt 550 Li. Those are also really good cordless cleaners with a little bit older technology, but nonetheless they work really effectively. And of course, if you're just going straight for price point, the Aiper Seagull would be the one that you would pick because it's the lowest price cleaner. On Amazon, I think there's always coupons, and they sell for like $6.99 or $7.99. So you get that one at a discounted price. I think the Dolphin Liberty 200 starts at $1,000. The Liberty 300 starts at $1,200, and the Polaris Freedom is anywhere from $1,300 to $1,400. And so the Aiper Seagull is about half the price of that and about 30 or 40% cheaper than the Dolphin version. Regardless, if you're going to go for a corded or cordless, watch all the reviews. I have all the robots on my channel, and you can watch my review of the Aiper Seagull, the Polaris Freedom, the Dolphin Liberty 200, and the Dolphin Liberty 300. And I'm sure next season there's going to be a lot more cordless robotic pool cleaners emerging on the market. And I think that's a segment that's just growing and growing because of the fact that there's no cord and it's convenient, with some inconveniences that I mentioned here built into it. But the convenience factor of not having a cord, you can get it. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Liberty 300 has a clicker to retrieve it. I should mention this because this is a pretty cool technology. The Polaris Freedom has the app control where has a lift system where you can turn it towards the side of the wall and it'll climb and you can pick it out of the pool. And the Liberty 300 has what they call the clicker and the click up system. So you put this rattle in the pool and you shake it back and forth, and the cleaner actually will come to the side of the pool. Actually, won't turn. So if it's facing a certain wall, it'll actually move to that wall, climb that wall, and then you can retrieve it. So you click it in, you put it in the pool, and you turn on the clicker. This is after the cycle is over, by the way. So it's sitting there done. It'll reactivate. It has enough battery power to reactivate. And so with the clicker, it'll come to the wall that it's facing, climb up, and you grab it out of the pool. There's also included hook if you need it, but the clicker actually works really well. I've tried it 3 times already. Each time I tried the clicker, the cleaner came out and climbed the wall, and I was able to pull it out of the pool. So it's really a unique technology, and they patented that, and they even patented the word clicker. I don't know. I mean, they trademarked the word clicker, so they have that also. So I think that technology is going to be something they're going to use on the Dolphin 400, the Dolphin Liberty 400, the Dolphin Liberty 500, and all of the models above that will probably have this click up technology, which I was surprised that it worked. Believe it or not, I was like, okay, this is going to be something. I'll see if this clicker thing works. So I rattled it in there, and I guess it just picks up that noise. So pretty cool technology, and I think, of course, all these are going to be emerging technologies, and they're going to get better and better. You're going to have longer runtime with the cordless cleaners, and you're going to have technology like the click up system and the future Dolphin cleaners. If you're looking for other podcasts I recorded, you can find them on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. Click on the podcast icon on the banner, and then the other podcasts I recorded will appear in the menu of the podcast site. If you're interested in the coaching program that I offer, you can learn more at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Pool Service Pro. Open a Leslie's wholesale account today and receive wholesale pricing on products you use every day. Leslie's Pool Supply offers convenient locations that are open 7 days a week. Another great benefit of opening a Leslie's wholesale account is Leslie's referral program. Get referred to a customer looking for weekly pool service. Save time and money and grow your pool service route and become a Leslie's Pro.